Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We have more gaming and PlayStation news, rumours and leaks to go over. If you enjoyed today's video, please show your support by hitting that like button. So we're starting off with Resident Evil 9. Geoff Keighley has bagged the exclusive on the next piece of Resident Evil Requiem news, as the host has revealed that the PlayStation 5 game will be part of the Gamescom Opening Night live showcase. He wrote on social media sites saying, "Witness an exclusive new look at Resident Evil Requiem only during Gamescom Opening Night live. The Cologne showcase takes place next week on August the 19th, and you can learn more about when is Gamescom Opening Night Live 2025 through the link in the description, including start times for your specific time zone." This is the second game to be confirmed for the live stream, with the other being the big unveiling of Call of Duty Black Ops 7. So far, Capcom has only shown its debut trailer and glimpse of gameplay publicly, but a playable demo was presented to press at the Summer Games Fest earlier this year. It's possible clips of that footage of Resident Evil 9 will be shown off next week at Gamescom, or we'll get more details surrounding the game in general. Now, sometimes Capcom titles get pre-release demos available to everyone, so this could also be on the cards. Could we get maybe a short playable demo of Resident Evil 9 announced at Gamescom? Let's hope so, fingers crossed. The game lands on PlayStation 5 next year on 27th of February. Will the announcement of a new gameplay reveal for Resident Evil 9 get you to tune in and watch the opening night live at Gamescom? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let's move on, because we have a really interesting report into game subscription services which has come out, particularly focusing on Game Pass and why players are not using it as intended. When Xbox Game Pass first launched, it was pitched as Microsoft's secret weapon, the Netflix for games, a huge library, day one releases, and one low monthly price. It sounded like the ultimate selling point for owning an Xbox, but years later, things haven't played out the way Microsoft hoped. Game Pass has regularly missed its growth targets. Even adding Call of Duty, one of the biggest franchises in gaming, didn't give it the massive boost that they were expecting. Some in the industry are now arguing that Game Pass might be doing more harm than good, and in 2023, Microsoft admitted the service had actually led to a drop in traditional game sales, with many developers calling the subscription model unsustainable. A new report from analytics firm Newzoo has added even more fuel to that conversation. Their director of market intelligence, Emmanuel Rosier, spoke on the GameWise podcast and shared something surprising about how players actually use Game Pass. Rosier said that despite Microsoft pouring so much into the service, from buying up game studios and publishers to putting high quality releases straight onto Game Pass on day one, they found little to no difference in how Xbox players behave compared to PlayStation players. In other words, even with a massive library of games at their fingertips, the vast majority of Game Pass subscribers are not playing more games or spending more time gaming than people on PlayStation. Rosier also confirmed that Game Pass is cannibalizing game sales. As an example, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 launched on Game Pass the same day it released and sold fewer copies on Xbox than previous Call of Duty titles. When Newzoo looked over player data, they only counted games that someone had played for at least 2 hours. Why? Because the research shows a trend. Many Game Pass subscribers try a game briefly and then they move on. And Rosier described it like this: with so much available on Game Pass, if you're not hooked right away, you just move on. You download another game, which is terrible, right? Sometimes games take 2 or 3 hours to warm up, to get you into the groove, right? But if people are moving on inside 2 hours to the next game, what the hell are they doing? Why are they even subscribing to Game Pass? One thing they haven't been able to track yet is completion rates. In other words, how many Game Pass games people actually finish. That could be revealing, because it's one thing to sample a game, it's another to stick with it all the way through. Now, this kind of behavior is not totally unique to Game Pass. PlayStation Plus has some of the same issues, but Game Pass has a much bigger library, and it promises those big day one releases. So the fact that players are not taking full advantage is more surprising. This leaves Microsoft in a tricky spot. They've been heavily pushing Game Pass not just on Xbox consoles, but on PC, mobile devices through cloud streaming, Amazon Fire Stick, and even the upcoming Rogue Xbox Ally handheld. But the recent move to put Xbox exclusives on PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch suggests they've realized Game Pass hasn't become the killer app. they were aiming for. Even Phil Spencer, the Xbox boss who championed Game Pass from day one, now calls it just another option. That's a long way from when he once said that Microsoft would leave the gaming business if Game Pass didn't hit 100 million subscribers by 2030. It almost certainly will not happen. But this wouldn't be the first time Spencer has walked back on a bold statement. The irony is that Microsoft is now the world's biggest game publisher thanks to owning Call of Duty. Phil Spencer recently told Xbox employees the business is thriving with more players, more games, more gaming hours than ever before, and yet hundreds of those same employees were then laid off right after. Look, the debate about whether subscription services cannibalizes sales or not will continue to go on, but just stop for a moment and take a look at where Xbox is right now. Games do not sell on the platform. First-party Xbox games are thrown into Game Pass like fodder. And when those same games release onto PlayStation, they're revisited for optimization, they get visual upgrades, frame rate improvements, and they're even released on physical disc for collectors. How does that make the Xbox gamer feel? Like a second-class citizen? Publishers too are reluctant to release games onto Xbox because they know the sales are just not going to come from that platform unless they strike a deal for it to go into Game Pass. But we all know the money received from Game Pass is not enough to satisfy the developers who will make more money from game sales, just not on Xbox. And there's a reason for all of this. There's a reason for all of this, guys. And that reason is Game Pass. It's that simple. Anyway, this is a very divisive topic. So let me know in the comments your thoughts and we'll move on. Ironically enough, as I just mentioned about PlayStation games getting improvements over their Xbox counterparts, yet again we have another game that is out on the Xbox platform which is being highly improved for PlayStation 5 and its release on PlayStation over the Xbox version. I know you guys don't always see it, but as someone who runs mainly a PlayStation-centric YouTube channel, I see the fallout from news like this, and there is so many Xbox gamers that are complaining that yet again another game is being prioritized over Xbox. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, is getting a huge round of improvements. Developer GSC Game World has confirmed these updates are coming long before the end of the year. The timing lines up with the launch of the PlayStation 5 version. That was announced early in June and it's expected to arrive later this year. And one of the biggest changes, well, it's a full upgrade to the latest version of Unreal Engine 5.5.4. This means new tools, new visual features, and most importantly, better stability and performance. The game had some technical issues when it launched in November last year on PC and Xbox. A lot of that has already been patched, but the engine upgrade should make things even smoother. Other planned improvements include new gear for exploration, new missions and open world events, a new weather system, expanded day and night cycles, a master difficulty for hardcore players, loot and stamina reworks, UI updates and immersive display modes, and general gameplay balance tweaks. GSC Game World say this is their target for 2025, but they admit things can change, and if everything goes to plan, the PlayStation 5 version will be the best way on consoles to play Stalker 2. Guys, let me know if you've experienced any problems playing this game on PC or Xbox, and if you plan on picking it up on PlayStation. So let's move on. Helldivers 2 might be about to team up with a classic Xbox franchise. Arrowhead Studios just dropped a trailer called Bring the Boom, and at the end we see a drop pod landing in a city at night. The vibe is almost identical to Halo 3 ODST. And to make the hint even stronger, the trailer uses ODST's theme music. This wouldn't be the first crossover for Helldivers 2. They've done Killzone themed gear in the past. If this is another collaboration, players could be suiting up as orbital drop shock troopers very, very soon. For those who don't know, Halo 3 ODST was released back in 2009. It was set during the events of Halo 2, but told from the perspective of an ODST soldier in the city of New Mombasa. It had a darker, slower, and more atmospheric tone than other Halo games. There are also ongoing rumors that older Halo titles could be coming to PlayStation 5 in the future. And whilst we're on the subject of Halo and talking about future releases, recently a data mine revealed some interesting details. According to Rebs Gaming, who have a pretty solid track record for Halo leaks, the game's API, that's a system behind online features, has references to PlayStation-compatible Halo games. Now, Rebs Gaming points out that the same API, grunt.api, correctly predicted Halo Infinite's multiplayer release back in 2021. So this isn't just speculation, it's based on some solid data. The data mine shows not just one but multiple Halo titles linked to PlayStation. There's also a new new Halo game listed, and it's also connected to PlayFab. That's the platform that handles things like cross-platform progression, matchmaking, and online services. On top of that, there's a second Halo title and a beta version also showing PlayStation compatibility, although details on these are quite scarce right now. Some fans are thinking that the new title might be Project E-Core, the multiplayer game from Certain Affinity. The best case scenario, according to Rebs Gaming, is that we could see announcements for Project E-Core, its beta, and a Halo Combat Evolved remake during the Halo World Championship in October 2025. Speaking of the remake, it's believed that Halo Combat Evolved could launch in 2026, aligning with both the 25th anniversary of the original game and Xbox itself. Earlier this year, leaker Nate the Hate also suggested that Halo, the Master Chief Collection, and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 might come to PlayStation 5 and even the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2. So while nothing is officially confirmed yet, the data mines definitely suggest that Halo on PlayStation is closer to reality than we might have thought. And this Bring the Boom trailer from Arrowhead Studios with the nod to Halo 3 ODST might just be a nice segue to introduce Halo to PlayStation audiences. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts, and let's move on to some disappointing news. Pearl Abyss, the studio behind Black Desert Online, has delayed Crimson Desert, a game a lot of people were looking forward to. The open world RPG was originally planned for late 2025. Many expected a release date announcement at Gamescom Opening Night Live, but that is not going to happen anymore. The new launch window is set for the first quarter of 2026, so sometime between January and March next year. So why the delay? Well, Pearl Abyss says it's down to final preparations, coordinating physical distribution, completing voiceover work, getting console certification, and lining up launch plans with multiple partners. They called it a strategic decision to make sure the release is a success. We've seen a lot of Crimson Desert over the last couple of years, massive landscapes, detailed towns, a mix of combat, exploration, and trading systems. We even got a hands-on look at Gamescom last year, and it was both overwhelming in scale and impressive in execution. With the success of Black Myth Wukong last year, there is proof that games once thought too good to be true can actually deliver, and Crimson Desert does look too good to be true. So we're all hoping that Crimson Desert follows the same path as Black Myth Wukong and actually delivers on incredible trailers, incredible initial gameplay, which resulted in a phenomenal game. So let's all keep our fingers crossed. Delays are never fun, but they can save a game from launching in a broken state. If a few extra months mean a smoother experience, better performance, and fewer bugs at launch, it will definitely be worth the wait. Okay guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments about the content discussed today, and I'll catch you on the next video.